Hey, what's up, everyone? Just wanted to jump on here tonight because it is time for me to update my template. So, follow along as I create a production and mixing structure template in Logic Pro. All right, so I'm not going to focus a lot on the different plugins that I'm going to use in the template, mostly on the structure, although I might mention a few plugins along the way. All right, so my goal here is to have a template that makes it really, really easy to start a song from scratch if I'm producing it, but also has the structure in place to be able to mix it the way that I want to mix it as we get to that part of the project. So the first thing here is we're just gonna throw something random in here. I'm actually gonna start by filling in the bus tracks that I want to use, or the aux tracks that I want to use. And so I've created kind of a plan for what I want to do. And so we're going to start with that first. I'll open up the channel strip window. I'm pressing Control N to add an aux. And so the first one is going to be my all Vox. Okay. All right. And then for the all Vox, I'm putting this as bus number 1. Control N again. We're going bus 2. This is going to be my drums and bass. Control N again. For bus 3, I'm going to do all music. And then Control N again for number 4. And this is going to be all FX. All right, so I'm using these auxes as subgroups, so that way I can kind of mix each of my tracks into these spaces and help provide a final mix. Also, it's super helpful because then you can get an instrumental version of your song really quick, an a cappella version of your song really quick. You can bring all the effects up and down really quick as needed. All right, so that is going to be kind of my main subgroups. And then we're just going to go one at a time underneath each of these and kind of add in the tracks that I would normally be using. So we'll start with vocals. So first I would do, let's create, we're going to create 8 audio tracks. All right, so my first one is going to be my lead vocals.
Then I'm going to have double left, double right, arm 1 left, arm 1 right, arm 2 left, arm 2 right, and actually I'm going to go ahead and we'll just take this one out for now. Alright.
So my lead vocal, if we go back to this window, I want this to go out to a lead vocal group, and so I'm going to make this one number 5. This is lead Vox. And then what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to click read right here, and it's going to enable myself to see it in my mixing view, my tracks view. All right. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and take this and create a new track stack. It's going to be a summing stack, and it's automatically going to assign it to the aux that I was already routing the lead vocal track to. And so now, not only is that like organized as my group, but this is the aux that's going to. And then as you can see here, we're going to we're going to take the lead Vox group there, and we are going to send it out to our all Vox subgroup. Okay, all right, we're going to do the same thing here with all of our harmonies and doubles. So I'm going to select them all, send them out to my BGVs. I'm going to make bus 6. So here comes my BGVs group. I want to be able to see that in my track view. I'm going to take you right up here on top of all of those. I'm going to highlight all of those. Once again, create a track stack, which you can see the shortcut here is Command-Shift-D. We're doing a summing stack again, and then boom, automatically organize those. Last thing to make sure we do is send this BGVs to our all Vox subgroup. Okay, so now we have our vocal tracks ready to go for the template. Moving down the list, my next subgroup is drums and bass. So we are going to make an all drums aux with all the tracks that I want. So for producing, I try to do it, have this set up quickly so I can start putting together a beat. So let's go ahead and get one. Let's take 4 of these MIDI tracks. Now here's a plugin I will talk about. It's free. It's called SpeedDrum Lite. It's a basic drum pad, but the way that I like to use it is by like going through Splice or all my samples or whatever and kind of pre-setting them into a drum pad. So I have all my kicks here, right? Different sounds I can use depending on what kind of song I'm doing. And then I go through and I've done that for like all of my drum sounds. So I got kicks there. I've got snares here. We'll do snaps and claps here. And then we'll do toms on this one. Cool. Back into my track view. I'm selecting all these. I want them to go out to, it's going to be bus 7, which is going to be my all drums. Make sure that shows up in our track view. Cool. We're pressing Command-Shift-D to create that into a new summing stack. Oh no, I didn't want that to happen. Forgot to highlight these. Command-Shift-D into new summing stack. Boom, they're assigned there. And I have my drums going out to my drums and bass subgroup. Great. All right, the next thing that I'll do in kind of the I like to keep my bass with the drums because it just kind of helps me get some low end control and I can mix these things into each other. So the next thing we'll do is our bass tracks. So I'm going to go in here and I'll do 3 of these and we'll just put them, you can put them on like whatever plugin you normally like to put your bass stuff together. So I've just made them all Serum in this case. This one will make bass. We'll do synth bass and an 808, just so I have options for how I want to do that. All right, we're gonna take all of our bass guys. We are sending them in this chart. I made that into bus 8, which is all bass. We're gonna have that show up in our track view. Put that up here. We're selecting all these guys. Command-Shift-D again. Summing stack. Now it's got that organized here. And we are sending this out to drums and bass as well. Okay. There's a few other percussion things I'm going to do. I'm going to do a high percussion and a low percussion, and then the transitions. I like to put that in my drum section, and that is like where I would put all sorts of like risers and lifters and things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and do each of those really quickly to finish out the drums and bass subgroup. Alright, so we got our vocals, groups, and tracks all set up. We got all of our drum groups and tracks set up, and those are going out to those main subgroups as well. The next thing in our main subgroups is all music. So first I'm going to do a few synth and keys tracks. make sure the sync keys is going out to the all music. Boom. Done with that. Next we do guitars. I almost always record guitars live with audio files. So this time I'm just gonna do, I would normally do probably 6 audio files for my guitars. Guitars, and we are going to send that to all music. Great. Then, you know, I don't use these in every project, but do the same thing with horns and strings, you know, just since this is a template. Okay, so as far as tracks go, let's get these guys all the way down here. I've got all of my tracks that I'm going to use in a template grouped into these groups. They have their own mixing groups here, and then all of those are going into each of these subgroups. The only one that we have left is our all effects, but this is a little different because we're not putting tracks in this, we're putting more aux channels in. Alright, so I'm going to go to the mixer view again, and it looks like I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're going to do 8 different effects auxes ready to go in here. So if you press Control N, that automatically makes a new aux for you. So this one, I will bring my vocal plate. This one will be my, I use Valhalla for my vocal Valhalla. Okay, Control N. We're gonna have, almost always do a parallel compression for my vocals. Then we're gonna we'll have a quarter delay option, we'll have an eighth delay, option. Then we're gonna have like a room verb, things I can send other instruments to help them fit together. We're going to do a snare plate, and I also like to parallel compress my snare drum quite often. So, snare parallel. Alright, so all of these we are going to send out, oh sorry, I grabbed some of those. All of our effects we are sending into our all effects bus, and let's change this color. Maybe our effects can be light blue, something like that. And I'm just gonna organize this. Alright, so now we have all of our vocal auxes set up here, except we haven't yet set the input, so we need to make sure that we go in and organize where each of these goes. So to keep it clean, I'm just gonna start it at bus 20. So we'll go 20, 21. Now obviously you can do this as well by just like directly sending the different tracks that you want to use these effects to those buses, but I wanted to set it up this way so I could have control over the organization and where the different numbers were falling. So then obviously you say, well, I know I like this certain reverb plug-in for my plate channel, and so you go ahead and you could like dial in all the settings that you want for each of these plugins, and then you save them as part of your template so they're always there. And then also think about, well, I know I always like to send my lead vocal to the vocal plate, so you can kind of go ahead and pre-send some, or at least pre-set up some of those sends as well, so that that is ready to go. So The goal with a template like this is it's got all of the instrument plugins that I need to like produce a song really, really quickly, but it also has all of the tracks organized and routed in a way that I can mix really efficiently as well. Then once you feel like you have finished all of this setup, what you would do is you go to Logic Pro, you go to File, you go Save as a Template, right? You can name your template whatever you want. Anders New 2025. And then, so I don't need to save this as a project because I've saved it as a template. When I launch Logic Pro again, and we start a new project, we can say from my templates, here's the one we just built. And now it's loading up all of that organization, all of those plugins that I already had kind of built in there and everything. So we can just get to work. So I hope this is helpful. I'm going to test this template out for a while and see if I like it. Would love to hear any feedback from you about it. Do you do similar things? Do you do different things? You got any tips or advice for me? As you know, we're all always learning in this space, and hopefully this is helpful to you, and hopefully some of your suggestions are going to be helpful to me so we can all get better together. Thanks so much for hanging out. Hope you have an awesome day. Peace.